Okay, I think I'm gonna get this thing started in just a second. I'm actually doing some notes still right now, trying to get things put together for you people, all you lovely people who check in eventually, even if it's not right here on the live joint. So let's see. All right, got a couple of good stories coming up. We're going to be doing some things. All right. Got some interesting topics for y'all today. I think we're going to start with some investigative reports. Okay, that's going to be very interesting for all the people concerned with real life. I think we're going to get into some music. Matter of fact, let me upload one more thing while I'm getting myself together right here. I have, yes, we have one more thing to upload, so I'm going to have to read that. Just got to find out gotta remember where I put it. But once again, this you may have right there, Curtin ICE, Shades Radio, YouTube channel, right here for you. All right, I'm gonna be with y'all in 1 second. We're gonna start the show in a minute. All right, I'm just looking for one more thing. Let's see, where would it be at? Yes, here it is, right here. All right, we're gonna talk about some music today. Old music versus new music. But I think we're gonna go into some police accountability issues. All right. As a matter of fact, let me pull this audio down just to make sure we're doing it right. Pull this audio down. As a matter of fact, no, I'm gonna put it up for right now. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. The show hasn't officially started yet. All right. We're going to go into some police accountability. All right. Then we're going to go into some news stories. And that's where we're going to hit the music section. I'm going to give you a little bit of politics. And we're going to finish it off with some more music. Stuff. Matter of fact, I got 2 more things to upload. Where is that? I got 2 more things to upload. And then I'm going to be right with you. I'm going to actually let some people join us. Now, where did I put that at? This is going to be in, where did I put that? Let's go to the details page. That was, damn, where did we put that? Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to really think about that. Where did I put this stuff? Okay. Maybe while we're playing another video, I'll be able to locate it. Let me save that. Okay, let me save that. Let's see. Oh, I know where we put it. Okay, almost lost that one. But now I know where we put it. Right here with the cipher. Yes. This one right here. Okay. We're gonna do some reaction videos at the end. Right. Do some reaction videos. I hope I don't forget any
of seeing that video of was it DMX birthday?
Easy now. Tell it quality. We'll get to you in a minute, We'll get to you in a minute. As well as this one right here. Thanks for joining us. We're about to be on and popping. We're about to be live on the set. It's your man right here, Kurt ICB. Getting things together. Letting you get in on the check-in before we really get started. Let's see. Let's remove the screen. Okay. All right. Let me pull you out for a second. All right. Yes. This man right here, Curtin ICE, Shades Radio YouTube channel right here for you. And as you can see, it's a very snowy day out here on the East Coast. Let me pull my music down just a little bit. You can just let me know if you can hear me over this track. I am going to be playing some of our newly acquired background music on StreamYard. Let me pull this up because I can't hear that at all. Let me know on the check-in if you can hear that. And I'm about to probably call G-Hop and let him get in on the check-in too. Let me see if G-Hop is around. Let me send G-Hop. I gotta send G-Hop the link though. Damn. Oh, here we go right here. Let me get this link popping for G-Hop so I can get him in on the stream, you know what I'm saying? Let me hit him. How can I hit him on the messenger? I'm gonna hit G-Hop. How did I hit G-Hop last time? Was it on the messenger? About to let him check in. There we go, Bay Salim. Okay. Let me hit up Bay Salim, give him the link. Okay, so Bay Salim is on the should be ready to be on the check-in. Okay, like that. All right. All right, I got some good things coming up. I'm gonna get into some different news stories and stuff today, as well as some wow. Okay. As well as some, like I said earlier, some politics, some police accountability, as well as some reactions at the end. All right, we're gonna go into some reactions to the cipher. All right, I never checked these videos out yet. It was on Talib Kweli's show. You had John Forte discussing his part in the cipher. So I never saw that yet. So I'm going to be commenting on that. And as you know, when I say the cipher, I'm talking about the first thing in popular media that was called the cipher was the video that I put out in 2004. So this is before YouTube existed, before Instagram, before all of those social media platforms even existed. I put out at that point it was a DVD, but when I originally recorded it, it came out on VHS back in the 90s. But in 2004, I called it the Cipher and put it on uh, DVD, all right, as one little piece. So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be reacting to John Forte, what he discussed about that, and see if that coincides with anything that I was saying. If he mentions the fact that, we'll talk about it later. But anyway, I also got Cannabis discussing the cipher too. So we're going to react to that at the end of the show. But before that, we're going to get into some investigative reports. We're going to get into some news, some music news, and some political news, as well as some not so political news. All right. I guess we'll put the Cardi B Tasha K thing in with the music news, I guess. All right. We're gonna mix in some politics, hopefully early on, so you guys don't get messed up. And then, like I said, then we'll go to the reactions. All right. So in the meantime, I'm gonna try to do all this. I'm doing all this myself right now. All right. And if you're on the check-in, tell me who you are. Let me know what's good. You know what I mean? Tell me where you're checking in from. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna try to call G Hop right now and see if he stays with us. Let's call up G Hop right quick and see if we can get him on the line. Tell him to join us in the studio on this snowy day. He shouldn't be out driving or nothing right now. He better not be out driving right now. It's like mad snow on the ground. It's like a foot of snow out here. First snowstorm of the winter though. We used to get snow in the like back in November and stuff like that. See, G Hop out here bullshitting. G Hop better not be fucking driving around in the snow, man. He's wilding. All right, see, G Hop's wilding right now. He's probably gonna call me back, and when he does, he's gonna have the link already. So hopefully he'll check in with us. All right. But in the meantime, we're gonna get to the hip hop stuff. But as always, man, listen. This is hip hop news. The way we do news is hip hop related. All right. So don't you worry. It's gonna be from a hip hop perspective, everything that we're talking about on here today. All right. And I hope y'all can hear me. I don't know if I need to boost my mic a little bit. Y'all might want to let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. And I think we're going to try to run through this first piece, which is a little bit longer. All right. This first piece is a little bit longer. Okay. And I have this down here. Yes. This first joint. See, let me get all the serious stuff out the way first. All right. Now, a story came to my attention the other day. Yesterday, I believe. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. This story came to my attention. It was just uploaded the day before that about a case down in Tennessee. No, West Virginia. I'm sorry. I was reading something else about Tennessee. It happened in West Virginia. All right, this story that we were about to discuss right quick. And like I said, we're going to get back into all the rest of the stuff later on. We got some good music news coming up too. All right, but this is some general news for you. All right. Now, what happened was there was a case down in Tennessee that I want to bring y'all attention. And that goes with one of the things that have been going on a lot on the internet. I don't know if you guys ever watched any of those police accountability videos. Right? Let's stop that for a second so we can go into our video. I don't know if you've ever watched any of these police accountability videos that they have on YouTube now, where they show people like filming the police and stuff like that and doing like little audits and shit. That's what they call them, police audits and shit. So what they do is try to make police more aware of their responsibilities to the Constitution and to upholding the law instead of, acting like tyrants and breaking the law. Okay. So something happened down in West Virginia recently. Let's see.
To do
All right,
so, we don't just
hold on. This is Taya Graham. She has a channel called The Real News Network, and you could check out her stuff. She has real good information on there. I'm gonna let her explain what she does right quick in a second, and then we're gonna skip ahead and go to the rest of the story. All right, but basically, our girl Taya Graham right here, as you can see, right here. I don't know, mom. Okay, there. She's right there. Yeah, our girl Taya Graham right there. She does police accountability stuff. All right. And there was a case with this guy down in West Virginia. All right. And this is, I'm really bringing this up to you because as we go through our regular lives, enjoying hip hop and all this kind of stuff, there's serious things that happen in life too. So this cat down in West Virginia, as he's riding through West Virginia, he's in a trailer in a mobile home driving, and his brakes go out, so he has to park in the trailer. And he actually had some juvenile marijuana hemp plants, actually some hemp plants in there, and the police were trying to get into his trailer without a search warrant. And I just want to show you what they did. All right, so let's first let Taya Graham introduce what she does right there. We're going to check it out.
Hello, my name is Taya Graham, and welcome to the Police Accountability Report. As I always make clear, this show has a single purpose: holding the politically powerful institution of policing accountable. And to do so, we don't just focus on the bad behavior of individual cops. Instead, we examine the system that makes bad policing possible. And today, we will do so by showing you this video of how police in a small West Virginia town tried to lie to get into someone's private property. And we will explore the reasons why this raid may have not only violated the law, but also the consequences for both him and his family. But before we get
okay, so let's skip ahead here a little bit
to the community, that they had to break into his home without a warrant. As you can see in the video we are showing now, police insisted that he let them inside. When Cody, fully aware of his constitutional rights, asked to see the warrant, police kept telling him they would get it soon. Let's listen.
So you're gonna break my stuff violently anyway? Look, my hands are right here. All I'm doing is recording this. That's it. I just don't understand why and what's going on. I need to have a lawyer present.
They ain't trying to hit none of
For a
that.
warrant, why not? This can be done completely peacefully. I just need to see a warrant first. Why are you guys breaking my stuff? I haven't seen a warrant yet. Right now I look like I'm surrounded by a bunch of wolves trying to attack me. Okay, so as soon as I get a warrant, I'll open the door. What's the issue? Well, here we go. This is what they're after. Just so people know the real truth. Whoa, whoa! Open the door. I don't understand why you guys are being so violent towards me. That's all. Yes, you are. You just smashed my whole window in.
But in fact, no warrant existed, at least not during the raid. But that didn't stop police from smashing his door and continuing to tell him to let them inside. Let's watch.
And you're not being violent? I haven't even seen a warrant yet.
We are effecting a search.
What kind of a search? Can I get any response at all?
What the hell do you got in
It's a deadbolt. I'll unlock it.
See, now what he's trying to tell him is that, they can come into his spot if they just provided him with a warrant, but they didn't want to do regular police work and get the warrant first and then come out to his trailer home and then come in legally. They wanted to just do whatever they felt like doing. And the part of the reason why this is important is because what these people do is, and what these police departments do, especially in these small towns, is they generate mad revenue just to, off of getting tickets, finding people and stuff like that. So they're really just trying to arrest people a lot of times. It's not necessarily based on the law. You know what I mean?
We've had on this show, but is still worth mentioning in the context of the case we're examining now. But there is more going on behind the scenes that we have unearthed since Cody's family contacted us about this case. Not only did they violate his constitutional rights, as we can see here, but the facts that we have discovered for this questionable arrest paint this entire ordeal in a light much more disturbing than the simple arrest we're watching now. Which is why we decided to do some work and find out exactly what happened to the warrant and to dig into the finances and the police department of this small town in West Virginia. So to delve deeper into what's going on, I'm joined by my reporting partner, Stephen Janis.
All right, now, this is just an example of how you can do good investigative journalism on YouTube. The regular news is not even doing stuff like this. Let me show you what they're doing.
Stephen, thank you so much for joining me.
Tay, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Stephen, you have reached out not just to police, but also prosecutors. What are they saying?
Well, they haven't gotten back to me, but I had some questions. Number one, is there a warrant? Was there a warrant? Where is the warrant? And other questions about the case itself. Is it okay for people who have legal marijuana to bring it into the state if they get it from another state? Why is this case being prosecuted? And how exactly are plants and what quantity of plants you have to have with intent to distribute? I mean, that is a huge crime. And what is the threshold? Because none of this case makes sense.
You've been delving deeper into both the police department and the city of Milton in general. What have you uncovered? And what did you ask the mayor of Milton about what you found?
Well, they have been issuing tremendous amount of fines. Almost 25-30% of their operation budget comes from fines. $500,000, $600,000. And you're talking about a city with a population of 2,500 people. I did the calculations. It means every person in the city has to get $250 in fines a year, every man, woman, and child. And so I asked the mayor, I said, Mayor, what exactly is going on in this town? Why are people being charged so many fines? Why is your police department such a profit center? And then on top of that, the police department takes up half of the operations budget, $1 million a year. So the fines don't even support it, but pays for a lot of it so they can have 10 police officers. So the finances of the city are very suspect and I think questionable and probably have a lot to do with this case.
You also did something interesting and you reached out to the West Virginia Tourism Agency. Why did you do this and what did they say?
Well, I asked them very specifically if people coming into West Virginia traveling who had bought marijuana legally in a state or had a medical card or had a prescription, if they should come to West Virginia at all. Because if you're going to arrest people who have medical marijuana, people need to know about it. And I said, look, we get between 100,000 and 1 million people who watch our show, and we want to warn these people, don't go to West Virginia if you have medical marijuana card, because they're going to arrest you, which is what they just did in this case. Believe it or not, they have not gotten back to me, but I'm going to stay on them.
Now
Okay. See, now that's the importance. Because like when you're traveling through some of these states, even if you have medical marijuana, you got to be careful. All right. Because all these police departments are not the same. And shout outs to Taya Graham and the Real News Network for putting this piece out. I found it very enlightening. You guys can check it out on her channel, the Real News Network, right here on YouTube. I'll try to leave a link in the description below once this video uploads. But that also leads to us, talking about something else that I found very interesting this week. As I go into work every day, I don't listen to like regular music. It only takes me like 5 or 10 minutes to get to work anyway. But because I work right in beautiful downtown Newark, New Jersey, so it takes me like 5 minutes to get to work. But I listen to like the news, so I listen to mostly like 1010 Wins on AM radio, or because I want to hear about the weather, the traffic, stuff like that, as I'm getting into work. So they've been beating this story to death, man, about how, and that's not really, no pun intended or whatever, but they've been beating this story to death about how this cop got killed. Well, 2 cops actually got killed, along with the suspect who killed them, like about a week or so ago, week and a half ago. Young rookie cop, I believe his name was Ramirez, was his last name. And another cop that was with him, they got shot by an assault rifle when they went to answer a domestic violence call. Okay, so they've been beat. The reason why I say they've been beating that story, that's because like every, 10-10 wins is like damn near on a loop. They just keep repeating the same news every 20 minutes. Like every 20 minutes, they just repeat the same news over and over again. And they may give you a little bit of new spin on it and then introduce one topic maybe every couple of hours. But they just say the same stories over and over again. So that story was like their headline story this week about how the funeral was happening this week and the memorial services and things like that. So they were just, oh, he was ambushed and such happened and that. But, they be killing these stories, just, telling you basically that putting the police in such a great light, in such a, like I don't know what you want to call them, but they try to put, police in such a great light when they're killed in a line of duty. But I'm like, that's not really a death problem or anything. I mean, that's like, it's not police dying in the line of duty. They only highlight the ones that are killed by suspects, but usually it's a gun problem. They just usually highlight the people that end up getting killed by guns, but they don't say anything about the availability of guns. And that's the reason why a lot of these cops are dying. So I went and I looked and I checked out the statistics. I went on to a site to check out the statistics to see how many police officers was killed in New York in 2021. And I found this. Right here. It gives you like the total number of deaths for police officers, right? And as you can see, you see assaults right there is at 5, right? 5 assaults. That means somebody was hand to hand in it with police, getting in the fisticuffs with police, and 5 police died. All right. And again, this is from, let's see, Officer Down Memorial page, odmp.org. All right. So as you can see, 5 people died from assaults. And as you can see, actually more officers died from car crashes. 22. All right. 22 officers died from car crashes. You don't really hear that because usually officers are speeding somewhere on their way to a crime scene and they die in vehicular accidents. All right. That doesn't even separate out the ones that might have been drunk driving too or whatever. That's just all of them combined. But then, of course, even more so, we see that gunfire killed 62 police last year in 2021 in New York City. All right. Gunfire, right? The proliferation of guns. We're not talking about holding the manufacturers accountable, the seller of the gun. We're not holding them accountable. We're not holding the first purchaser of the gun accountable, right? We're just talking about crime. And somebody even called into one of these shows, NPR, I believe it was, and said, hey, the guy that killed that police officer was a black guy. Doesn't that mean something about black people? Like, what are we going to do about why black people kill police? There's like almost 10 million people in New York. 62 people got killed. 62 police officers got shot and killed. That's not a thorough percentage at all. That's nothing. That doesn't mean anything about black people in general. To say, 62 people died. And those weren't all, I'm sure those weren't all black people that killed all those police either. Okay. Let me fix my mic. All right. But by far, and they make gunfire in these high profile or salacious type of crimes they make them real big, right? But in actuality, what did the most what was the biggest cause of death last year for New York City police officers? If you look, right? If you look here, it actually says COVID. 353 officers died in the line of duty from COVID. So how come that wasn't the lead story? How come that's never the lead story? How come they don't talk every week about, oh, another officer died this week from COVID because he refused to get vaccinated, refused to get the shot? You know, they don't talk about that. Look at how many people that is, 353 compared to 62, right? That's almost like triple. That's like more than triple. That's like almost quadruple the number of officers that got shot actually died from COVID, right? And just so you know that that's not just like some random thing that just happens in New York. That happens all over the place. In fact, we had an officer out of Washington State, an officer named Robert LeMay, ex-Washington State trooper, who was fired because he told the governor to kiss his ass over the state's vaccine mandate, right? Seems like he died from COVID last week. You know, this was after he told the governor to kiss his ass about the vaccine mandate. He actually died from COVID, right? So how come that wasn't a big story this week? You know, they don't want to talk about that, right? They want to tell you that gunfire and this and that is the big thing for you to worry about, right? That's the big thing for you. You're supposed to worry about if you're a police officer. That's what you're supposed to have so much sympathy for them about, right? Well, y'all take that as you will. All right, but I just wanted to bring y'all those couple of stories right quick. All right, now listen. There was also some music news this week. All right, we're gonna get into a little bit of music news. Right, I'm sure a lot of y'all haven't seen this because y'all probably don't pay attention to the news. That's why I'm doing this. All right, because even if you don't watch it right now, I'm gonna break it up so that you can watch it later at your leisure. All right, nice little bite-sized chunks, so it won't be too much for y'all to digest. All right. So there was some music news this week. One of the big stories was this one right here. Where is it? Oh, where is it? Okay. Y'all probably heard about this story.
It's the type of like it's like you be letting these YouTube bloggers talk mad and you let it, but when they get out of line, it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna take legal action because I'm sick of people. Like, I'm really sick of people. Like, anybody that she think I'm close with, she got a story to tell. Like, how you think that I'm close with some girl and then you're gonna go ahead and make up stories about her talking about she's a crackhead and everything? This woman got 3 kids that are active on social media. Like, people just want to make up stories about people and talk about people, because, you know, just using my name, you get automatic clickbait and shit. And it's like, when they don't have a story to say about me, they would just make a story up, or they will make a story up about my friends, and I'm sick of it. Like, I'm just sick of it. Like, it's like, I know I get it that I'm famous and people gonna harass me, but when you harass my friends and talk shit about my friends, and when you put my daughter in your mouth, that's when I have a problem. Because I will bury a for my child. I'll go to jail for life for my kid. So don't even ever try it. And I'm going to sue that blogger because I'm sick of it. Gathering all my information, bitch. You want to keep harassing me? You want to keep harassing my friends? You want to keep making shit up? Then I'm going to take all your bread.
Yes, as you saw, that was Cardi B. And she recently, this past week, won her lawsuit against a YouTube blogger named Tasha K. Now, Tasha K lost a defamation lawsuit against Cardi B because she was lying about certain things Cardi B did in her past. She lied about it on her channel and got a whole bunch of views off of it, right? So in respect to that, Cardi B got tired of it, like as you heard, and she took it to court. So over a 4-year court battle, the trial just ended this past week, and the jury within like 2 hours awarded Cardi B with close to like, at first it was like for the for the legal damages, legal fees, and the punitive damages, everything that was concerned, it ended up totaling to be about $3.8 million that this Tasha K has to now pay to Cardi B. All right, that's what she owes her now, after talking so much trash about her and this and that. So, you know, it doesn't behoove you to get on here and lie, evidently, because sometimes people got enough time to take your ass to court and deal with you the proper way. You know, back in the day, like in the 90s, you just might have to see somebody out in the street, but with the internet, you could be anywhere talking about somebody, so you might never see that person. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into some more music news. And as we do, I'm gonna put this on. All right. As we do, let's get into a little bit more music news. I think the first story that we'll talk about is the short one. Okay, y'all probably didn't hear about this again, because I'm not sure how many of y'all be paying attention to the news. But as you can see, Spotify stock plummets. A staggering 12% in 1 week as users delete their accounts en masse to protest the platform, siding with anti-vaxxer Joe Rogan against musician Neil Young. Clearly, the backlash is working. Retweet if you support boycotting Spotify. That's what this tweet says. And again, I'm going to be referencing Twitter a lot. So if you are on Twitter, you can follow me at Kurt Nice, HHL. That stands for Kurt Nice Hip Hop Lives. Check me out on Twitter right there. And I do mostly a lot of political balling, because the hip hop, tweeting. I do a lot of political tweeting, but that's because the hip hop on Twitter is most of the times it's kind of suspect. You know what I'm saying? It's really just rap fan celebrity shit. All right, so I'm not really into that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't care less about some of these rappers. You know what I'm saying? So people's always like, oh, didn't you, like, this person has the best album ever, or, you know, this random artist, you know, is greater than this other artist, you know. And that's basically how the conversation goes most of the time. It's not a lot of in-depth talk about hip hop or anything like that at all. You know what I'm saying? But what they're talking about here is the fact that Neil Young, who's an old school folk artist, rock musician, you might not know who he is, being a hip hopper, you might not know who Neil Young is, but he basically put up an ultimatum saying that if you don't start policing some of this COVID misinformation, he's going to take all his music off of Spotify. So Spotify was like, I don't give a damn what you do, Neil Young. Take your music off. We don't care. We're keeping Joe Rogan. We pay him $100 million a year. He has the biggest contract ever with Spotify. So Neil Young took his music off, and actually a couple of people followed suit. And a lot of people, like that tweet suggested, they deleted their Spotify accounts. A lot of users left Spotify. And as it turns out, Spotify ended up losing $2 billion worth of stock share this week. So that $100 million investment is costing a little bit more right now, about $2 billion more. That's what that's costing them to have Joe Rogan on there. So a lot of y'all out there, listen, man, if y'all anti-vax and all that other stuff, that's up to you. You could do that, but you're playing with your life. And the information that you might be paying attention to might not be correct. Now, you saw what happened to that officer that told the governor to kiss his ass, right? You see what happened to him. Don't let that be you. All right? Don't let that be you. In fact, this week, there was or actually last weekend at this time, there was an anti-vax rally, right? All the anti-vaxxers got together in DC and they had a big rally. And this is kind of what it looked like. Let me show you what this thing looked like, man. This shit looked a little bit crazy. Where is it? Here it is. Let's start you back here. This is what you got if you were at the anti-vax rally last week.
Wait. Oh, we love. Here we go. Change right here. The D. And with love, there is no wall I cannot break.
This is the anti-vax rally.
And with love, there is a right to my mistakes.
Wow.
With love, and with
Really
love,
getting it, isn't
you know, your heart will always sing. Don't you know
No
that
mask,
it is
no vaccinations,
all
everybody just
fulfilled
chilling.
with love.
Look at this shit. Look at it. Look at it. She's really feeling the vibe, isn't she? Look at it. Look at it, man. She's really feeling it. So that was your anti-vax rally last week, man. All right. And listen, man, y'all can, buy into all that type of stuff if you want to, man. But see, when you think that politics don't matter, right? When you're out here acting like, you can just listen to music, listen to hip hop, and just go about your day and don't have to worry about nothing. When you're acting like politics don't matter, right? Those people are the ones that you're letting vote and choose all your representatives. So when you don't vote, you just let other people pick. That's all you're doing, because you're still going to be affected by the choices that people make. It's just that you're not participating and you're not going to be one of the people having your say. All right. So when you have your say, all you got to do is register and vote. And everybody in America, this is an election year. All right. So you should be registered to vote. You say, oh, what's the point of voting? Well, if you don't vote, you let crazy people pick your candidates and your representatives, and then they start making laws for you. Okay. That's the importance of voting. Okay. And we're going to get into that in a little bit. Not the second. I'm going to finish some more music news, man. I'm going to go into some more music news. In fact, there was another story that I saw on Twitter this week, right, where it talked about how old music is killing new music in sales, right? Old music, like on all the streaming services, 70% of the streaming, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. 70% of the streaming that's coming out of these platforms is all old music. It's all music that was made more than 18 months ago. Most of it like from the 70s and stuff. That's the music that people are listening to. It's not none of this new music. This new music that everybody thinks is so popping and it's like, doing XYZ, doing all this kind of stuff. That's not what people are even streaming. Old music is killing that. Okay. Let me see if I can go into the article in depth. There's nowhere I could really possibly put this like so you could view the whole thing, but I'll give you the guy's name that did the article. I believe his name is, I can't say his last name, is Ted Giowa or something like that. I know I'm messing your name up. My bad, my dude. But bottom line is, he goes into depth about how old music, classic music, all your old stuff, that's what people are actually checking out. They're not streaming out this music that's come out. Like even, I don't want to say mumble rap. That's over with. You know what I'm saying? Mumble rap is dead. We all know that. It's gone. It's never coming back. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, in 10, 20 years, y'all not going to be listening to mumble rap. Y'all not going to be vibing off of that shit. Okay, so y'all can forget it. All right, like stop it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not gonna be checking that shit out. It's not gonna have the staying power like classic music. All right. Um, but this story here, and I would read the article if it would come up. Okay, here we go. Again, this is on the Atlantic, I believe. So I guess you can go to their website to check it out. There is, I believe, like a little paywall involved there, but you can, like, if you subscribe to the to the newsletter or whatever, if you give them your your email address, then you can read the whole story. All right, and this is by a Ted Gioia, and he writes that the music and popular. He writes for the music and popular culture newsletter, The Honest Broker, on Substack. Now, he's the author of 11 books, including most recently Music of Subversive History. Now, he's saying that old songs now represent 70% of the U.S. music market, according to the latest numbers from MRC Data, a music analytics firm. Those who make a living from new music, especially the endangered species known as the working musician, should look at these figures with fear and trembling. But the news gets worse, he says. The new music market is actually shrinking. All the growth in the market is coming from old songs. All right, and that's what that first graph shows. It says that the 200 most popular new tracks now regularly account for less than 5% of total streams. So you hear that? The 200 most popular tracks that are playing on the radio 24/7, that's actually less than 5% of the total streams of music. So what could these radio stations be doing to get more of an audience? They could be playing old music. All right. Now, the reason why he says that that's shrinking is because 3 years ago, the rate of downloads for new music was like 3 times that amount. So it was like 15% of the market was those most popular songs. Even though it was still less than old catalog music, it's now dwindled down to 5%. So the more time that goes on, as we've been going through these last 3 years, less and less new music is being streamed by people on the internet. Right? So think about that. Think about how they beat you in the head talking about you got to make new music and you got to appeal to new fans. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. All right. The current list of most downloaded tracks on iTunes is filled with the names of bands from the previous century. So like from the 20th century, over 22 years ago, they're saying. Creedence Clearwater Revival, The Police, etc. Now, let's continue on. He goes on to say, our buddy Teddy G. All right. And he talks about how in the music industry, most people are inspired. They want to send you to all the new music. That's what they're done. That's what their job is, to make you right. He says every week I hear from hundreds of publicists, record labels, band managers, and other professionals who want to hype the newest new thing. Their livelihood depends on it. The entire business model of the music industry is built on promoting new songs. Now, as a music writer, he says he's expected to do the same as are radio stations, retailers, DJs, nightclub owners, editors, playlist curators, and everyone else with skin in the game. Yet all the evidence indicates that few listeners are paying attention to new music. Most people, including all these young people, are listening to old music. All right. Now he brings up how when they postponed the Grammys, nobody cared. Nobody cared, and like 20 years ago, that would have been a big thing if the Grammys got postponed, but nobody cared. Nobody didn't care. Nobody cares about the Grammys and the New Music Awards and stuff. Nobody cares, right? Because think about if the Super Bowl was canceled or something like that. How many people would be up in arms if the Super Bowl got canceled, right? So people don't care about new music like they be trying to beat you in the head with. All these radio stations that are lying to you, telling you that, oh no, it's all about new music. We gotta play the most requested songs. Those aren't the most requested songs. People don't listen to that stuff like that. The most requested music is old music. And he actually ends up by saying that the most used physical format for music is actually vinyl. Vinyl records, which was made last century, at the beginning of the last century, right? One of our first ways to record and send out music was on records. That's the most popular form of physical format for music in 2022. Vinyl records, not CDs, not MP3s, not tape sets. The physical form of music that people buy most is vinyl. Okay? So that's something to think about. You know what I mean? That's something to think about. All right, but let's continue on. In fact, before we get into some politics, I'm going to show you one more thing from my YouTube page. I mean, not from my Twitter page. All right, this is some of the stuff that you'll find on Twitter in the hip hop section. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll through my Twitter feed right here for you real quick, and this is some of the type of stuff that you're gonna see. Right here, you have a nice little portrait of our boy Lil Wayne, depicting how he might have looked after he dropped the Carter 3 album. As we go on, Intergalactic is the greatest piece of art I've ever made. That's what somebody named The Chosen One said. Fear of a Slack Planet, it's showing us some logos from back in the day. He says, I tweet for people in hip hop who used to draw logos on their school notebooks, right? Y'all familiar with any of those logos? I'm not sure. Somebody else said, I only want to hear Pusha T rap about cocaine. Wow. You know, that was a young person, nice little troll out there for you. You know, Pusha T supposedly has a new album coming out. The Flyest Chef, Raekwon. Round 1, Dr. Dre versus RZA. Who y'all got? Who y'all got in that battle? I don't think they're Wu-Tang versus Dr. Dre. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Oh, damn. Let me check my comments here. I've been sleeping on the comment section. Mike P, the scientific mystic, on the check-in. He says, all right, what did you say in here, Mike P? Mike P said they let new artists redo Rocket Man, and even Meg Thee Stallion redid a classic joint. Right. Mike P also says that they don't they're selling their catalog. Wait a minute, he says they're selling their catalog, not new music. All right. Mike P, he says they don't teach music, so when people hear real good music and even MCs, they're blown away. And that's true, Mike P. I could agree with you on that. Yeah, it's just 2:53 right now. I know Mike P is going in and out on this. I think his stream is going in and out on this, but that's true. They don't teach music, so yes, that's why some of my favorite reactor channels are the ones where they're reacting, like the younger cats are reacting to old school music. You know what I'm saying? I like when they do that. You know what I mean? I like when they do that. And a lot of people do too. Oh, yeah, Mike P had to be out, and he's trying to add links on YouTube channel. So he's asking, yes, I will, Mike P, and we will build soon. And once I re-upload this, Mike P, you'll see that your tweets was there. You know, I'm the only one here in the studio, Mike P. So yes, I will make sure that I put all my contacts in there so we could build. You know what I'm saying? One of the best ways is going to be to like just DM me either on Instagram or on Twitter. And like, again, my handle is Kurt Nice at HHL. You know what I'm saying? At Kurt Nice HHL. All right. All right. But definitely shout outs to Mike P, the scientific mystic who always checks in with the goodness. You know what I mean? Giving us some more info like that. All right. But definitely thank you for those comments. And as we continue on, again, y'all gonna have to put in the comments, man, who y'all think is a better producer, RZA or Dr. Dre. That is actually, I don't even know the purpose of actually, you know, doing a battle like that, because they're both dope and I like them both. So I don't, but I personally can't say who's better. I really can't, because on some forms you would say Dr. Dre, but on others you would end up saying, you know, RZA and the whole Wu-Tang catalog. That's impeccable. All right. So yeah, that's a hard one, man. Y'all gonna have to tell me what y'all would think, man. R.I.P. Fife. People are bigging up Tribe Called Quest. You know, again, this is on this is my hip hop feed on Twitter. All right. Damn, Mike P, I wish I would have been able to talk to you before you had to check out. And I see we still didn't get a call back from G-Hop yet. Okay, check this out. This is a story that dropped this week. It said Kanye West becomes the only rapper in history to have charted a song on Billboard for 19 consecutive years. He has entries every year since 2003 when he debuted. And then they also put commercial longevity cultural icon and noted genius and crazy person. Kanye West, ladies and gentlemen. Your boy, Yeezy. All right. That's y'all boy. That's y'all's man's in him. All right. What else do we have? Well, and again, Kanye is a dope artist to a certain degree. Not really to me like that, because he makes mostly pop music. You know what I'm saying? And I like more hip hop type music. But, you know. Ron Wise on Twitter said this week, he said, people who analyze the lyrics have a different respect for rap/hip hop. That's true. I agree with that. So now playing on hip hop back in the day, Public Enemy. Jay-Z won the Hip Hop Humanitarian of the Year award for XXL. So that's interesting, right? Digital Underground, the return of the crazy one. Do y'all know who Digital Underground is? Do y'all remember Digital Underground? I don't know if y'all remember that. And I don't know if that's Mike P, the scientific mystic, checking back in. But if that is you, please give me a shout, because I was just posting your tweets a second ago. 1989's hip hop is one of the most underrated years ever. Hip hop tracks from acts like Heavy D and the Boys, and who did he say? Heavy D and who else? Oh, and Bismarck. Never got to meet Heavy D. I never got to meet Heavy D before he died. But obviously, you see, I've got footage with Bismarck. Met him on many occasions. been to clubs when he was DJing and spinning, all that type of stuff. So, you know, Biz was an ill performer. So RIP to him, RIP to Heavy D as well. You know. And of course, he's talking about 89. 89 is a number, another summer. Get down. In the 1990s, producer Jay Dilla, people talking about Jay Dilla, did collaborations like D'Angelo, Questlove, and Common. Erykah Badu reshaped the sonic landscape of hip hop and R&B. And Dan Charnas has an excellent new book called Dilla Time, which tells how they did it. All right, so you can check that out. That's Dan Charnas' new book called Dilla Time. Oh, I also, you see these little people right here? You see this little group right here? You see this little girl right here? Even overseas, right? They have an ill respect for more of the culture of hip hop than we think they do, because they still acknowledge some of the other elements. For instance, and matter of fact, just so we don't get copyrighted, let me find an appropriate track. This might not be appropriate, but let me see. Let me find an appropriate track to put over top of this, or just to mix in the background so I won't get the copyright. All right, I'm gonna mix this dance track in. I'm gonna mix this dance track in with this video. So let's check this out. Let's check this out. Let's see what old girl's doing. Tell me if you think her dancing is hip hop influenced. Write that down in the comments below if you think her dancing is hip hop influenced. Which one is this old girl? Hold on. You see that? You see old girl right there getting it? She was getting it. You said she was getting it. Like, that's definitely influenced by hip hop. Like, I don't know what y'all know, what y'all saw, but I saw some hip hop movies right there. All right, from old girl. She was doing her thing. All right. She was definitely doing her thing. What is this? Let's go back in some more. All right. Okay. Matter of fact, something else that I saw on Twitter this week was this clip here. Let's check this one out.
I'll express through song, delete stress like Motrin, extend strong, drink a wet with Medusa, give a shot cause in hell, from the split that I lived in hell. Whoa. It ain't hard to some of y'all was like 5 years old when this album came out. Trunk, turn the bass up, not stories by Aesop, place your loot up. Nas I analyze, inhale from the L, school of well. You feeling like Braille, it ain't kick a skill like Shaquille, hose appeal. Vocabulary spills, I'm ill, plus matted. Freak beat, slamming like ice sheet, jam like a tech with correct technique. They analyze me, can't magnetize me. Scanning while you're planning ways to sever. I leave you froze like Hebron in your nose. Nas and Rockwell. If you was there with me in 94, make some noise. I love you for that.
That's it.
But your frame of mind's chosen. Thinking brain stimulated. Niggas is frozen. Speak with criminal slang.
All right, that's your boy Nas right there, performing in front of a live orchestra. You know what I mean? So hip hop is you got your originality, your skills and your concept. Don't forget about that, you know. And listen, let's continue on, man. I actually want to get back a little bit, and we're going to use this, you know, we're going to talk about somebody that's considered to be in the oh fuck. We're going to talk about somebody that's considered to be, you know, we talked about the radio and stuff earlier, playing new music as if it's the dopest shit out when it's really not. You know what I mean? We already showed you the article where we talked about how old music actually streams more than new music by vast, vast degrees. You know, only 5% of the music that's downloaded and streamed on the internet is new music. Only 5% of it. 95% of it is stuff that was made 18 months or later, most of it being made 20 years or more. That's what actually people listen to on the internet. Okay. So these radio stations are filling your head full of lies because that's their job, to fill your head full of lies and false narratives. Now I'm going to give you an example of another false narratives that these radio stations be trying to fill your head with. All right. I'm going to give you another example of that. But it's a little bit more on the political tip, but you'll recognize the person being talked about is one of some of you guys' favorite radio, like they're not DJs, radio show hosts. He was talking about Charlemagne. All right. Now I'm gonna play the video. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about, but we're going to see what your power of discernment is. We're going to see what your power of discernment is. So as we're watching this next video, tell me who you side with more, the person talking or Charlemagne, the person that they're talking about. Right now, you're probably going to have, you know, biases one way or the other. Okay, from what you might already know about Charlemagne, this other guy that's about to talk, you've never seen him before, you don't know who he is. So that's going to be one bias, right? But you have to go past your biases to figure out how to discern who's telling the truth and who's been lying to you. All right, so let's check this video out real quick. Let's check this one out. Hold on now. Hold on now. Let's go.
Every fucking day, y'all celebrities use your platform to misinform. Shocking news! That ain't so fucking shocking. Shitty ass fucking Charlemagne, who's willing to coon for some coin and some damn clout, trying to stop voter turnout, says that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris haven't done shit. Where's Trump? At least Trump gave it to us raw. Just like when the Root reported that you allegedly gave it to a woman raw while she was incoherent, she was hiding in a cooler ground while you pulled her panties down, she was sipping on Spanish Flat while you unzipped yours. Yeah, that sounds about right. Trump did give it to us raw. He fucked us. You got the motherfucker never talk about Biden, Harris, and Democrats are weak. Nah, nigga, the only thing weak is your damn ego. In a minute, I'm gonna get a knock on the door. We got a cease and desist order from Charlemagne Kundamain. Anytime anybody report the news on your ass, you get mad. It's weird that all I'm doing is reporting what the Root put out. Your ass can send that motherfucking cease and desist. Send that defamation suit, because all I'm doing is reading an article, bitch. But you want to know what else is weak? Your motherfucking ratings. The God Honest Truth, 2.1 out of 10 fucking stars. Nigga, the God Honest Truth, they about to repo your show. The most clicks you get is when you mention the Queen. And Queen Kamala checked your ass. She hit your ass with the facts and receipts, which I'm about to repeat. And I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for the people, because y'all grift off of our grief. How much money did you make during the Trump administration selling book deals pretending to be fake woke when your ass is comatose? I just find it funny when y'all celebrities get money, because y'all always talk about how much y'all miss Trump, because he gave you the biggest motherfucking tax break off of our fucking backs as he stacked the courts with conservative judges. Yes, Cracker King, you stack those courts while I stack my paper. Look, see, that's that shit I'm talking about. See, while he was stacking them courts with conservative judges, Joe Biden done stacked them with black women. And we about to get this black Supreme Court justice. And that's another fucking campaign promise that he's fulfilled, along with infrastructure, along with stimulus. More stimulus than Trump gave our motherfucking ass. 1,400 is more than 12. I can count, nigga. While y'all fake ass celebrities are counting y'all motherfucking coins, I'm counting these damn accomplishments, bitch. That's 6.4 million motherfucking new jobs. That's 3.5 million children out of fucking poverty, thanks to the fucking Joe Biden. That's 41 fucking percent. When the Senate failed to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, Joe Biden called on the Department of Justice to ban no-knock warrants. The same same one that killed fucking Breonna Taylor and chokeholds that killed George Floyd. I don't want to hear this motherfucking shit. And when you done clout chasing with your cooning ass from fucking Comedy Central, I hope they give you that motherfucking spinoff.
That's Kenny. You can follow him at Too Raw, Too Real on Twitter. And he ain't done yet. I'm going to play the rest of what he was talking about. He ain't done yet. But just so that you know, I'm going to give you a couple of little facts, man. A lot of y'all people be acting like, oh, what did the Democrats do for me yet? What did they do? Look, first of all, sometimes when you vote, you don't just vote for something, but you vote against something, right? You vote to keep the dumb shit from happening. So even if you're not in love with the person that you're going to vote for, you still could be making sure that they take the position over some crackhead that shouldn't be in office. Okay, because when you don't vote, the other people, they still are going to vote. Some of the crazy people, the racists, the fascists, the people at the anti-vax rally, y'all might be for that, but y'all want them picking your representatives that's going to tell y'all nobody has to wear a mask. We can just run around catching COVID and dying every 5 minutes. Like, y'all want it back to that? Okay, but don't listen. Y'all think I'm making stuff up, but statistically, it's shown that people, you can see it, but it's right up there under the Shades of Hip Hop logo. I ain't taking the Shades of Hip Hop logo down for Fox News. Listen, the study shows that watching only Fox News makes you less informed than watching no news at all. You see that red line? That's where watching no news at all is, and whether or not you answer domestic questions correctly. Fox News is the top line right there. Fox News is the top line. Above the red line, that's Fox News. You got less of the domestic questions correct if you watch nothing but Fox News. And then it was on to MSNBC, CNN, as well as some of the others, right? That's what looking at misinformation does for you. All right. And we're going to get into the specifics of what happened under the Trump administration versus the Biden administration. But one thing to check out is the number of indictments. As you know, so far, there hasn't been any indictments of the Biden administration because they haven't done anything wrong, any criminal activity. But for criminal indictments by administration, we see Barack Obama has 0. Gerald Ford, way back before you guys were born, he had 1 criminal indictment. There was even 1 criminal indictment under Jimmy Carter. That was back in the 70s. All right. Then it gets up to George H.W. Bush, right, who had 1 criminal indictment. Okay. And from there went to Bill Clinton, who had 2 criminal indictments, one of which I'm sure was lying in front of Congress for getting a blowjob. That was probably one of the criminal indictments, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. It might have been something else, but it wasn't nothing that serious. It was just, but plus it was just 2. All right. Then you go to George W. Bush, whose Vice President Dick Cheney shot somebody in the face while duck hunting. He didn't get indicted for that or anything. He didn't get any trouble. So that's not one of these indictments. But other than that, they got 16 indictments. Ronald Reagan, I'm not even going to say he's the brains behind it, but the person whose administration brought us the Iran-Contra affair, which y'all probably don't know what that is, but y'all do know that the crack epidemic started because Ronald Reagan was trading guns to the Sandinistas, who was getting weapons from. They were getting the Sandinistas was giving America drugs, crack, cocaine. Well, cocaine that was turned into crack. All right, because you can't grow coke in freaking New York City or mostly anywhere in America, right? So it's grown in like southern hemisphere countries and stuff, or countries that's closer to the equator. All right. And he brought us that, where the Sandinistas and was shipping drugs up through Mexico and that. And in exchange, they were given, America, I guess, was given weapons to Iran. And then Iran was paying the Sandinistas for the drugs. It was like a whole triangle of trying not to get caught, but they all got caught. There's movies about it, how the crack epidemic started. And it started from the Iran-Contra affair. And if I'm wrong, y'all can check me on that. And please let me know if one little part of that is off a little bit, but I don't think so. Right. And then, of course, you got the Richard Nixon administration, which had 76 indictments. But the previous administration to Biden had 215 indictments. 215 criminal indictments out of the Trump administration. But Charlemagne was talking about he wanted to go back to Trump. See, you can't trust a lot of these people that's telling you stuff on the internet. That goes back to Tasha K. She got charged $3.8 million for lying on Cardi B. Because a lot of these people that's going to get out here are going to lie to you. They're not going to give you no facts. They're not going to give you no receipts, any statistics, any sources or anything. They're just going to be saying stuff and lying to you to keep your attention. I'm not actually trying to do that, though. So you can check me on anything, any facts that I might have wrong. Okay. And in fact, we're going to get more into the jobs and stuff he created. But let's go back to Kenny. Let's see what Kenny says for this last piece.
You to bring me on your motherfucking show. Pay for my motherfucking ticket with my broke ass. See, I ain't gonna sell out like Bakari sells. I ain't gonna sell myself like a motherfucking slave on the sugar fucking plantation and let y'all asses lie on this administration. I got the receipts. And I don't give a fuck about your celebrity or your clout, bitch. And the reason why I'm so fucking mad is because y'all continue to play politics with people's lives. Literally, earlier this month, my water was out again because of a broken fucking pipe. That's infrastructure. That's what we've been talking about. What the fuck you talking? We just saw a bridge come tumbling down to Pittsburgh 2 days ago on the 26th. I get a message from fucking Duke Energy taking my powers out. I paid my motherfucking bill. Something went wrong. Everybody knows how shitty Sugar Creek is over here in Charlotte. You was here, Kundamang. What the fuck? Y'all lying in y'all motherfucking pockets, lying on this fucking administration, trying to stop people from voting to turn out because y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't care about playing politics with people's lives. Y'all don't give a fuck about people like me. You're so fucking out of touch, you just need to learn how to shut the fuck up. You prove your privilege every fucking day. Every fucking day. Talk about none of this shit matters because it doesn't affect you because your ass is in a higher fucking tax bracket. You don't want to give back to the people who invested in...
Hold on, Kenny. Kenny's getting a little too excited. All right. So he made the stream shut off right there. But you see his point, though. You see his point. And, people, and that's why I said something about discernment. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know who Kenny is and stuff like that. Y'all never seen him before. Y'all seen Charlemagne, though. Y'all know him. So what y'all might believe him more. But as you saw, Kenny was bringing y'all the receipts, though. He was bringing y'all the receipts. And Kenny says this on his page and stuff, too. And I'm going to just address it right here because a lot of this audience might not necessarily be a part of that community, which is, Kenny is very, openly gay. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean anything. He's a great brother. You know what I'm saying? He has good information and he has very passionate rants like that, on Twitter. And he brings information. You know what I'm saying? So y'all might look at that and be like, oh, well, why would I trust him? No, why would you trust Charlemagne? What has he ever proved to y'all? That's true. You know what I'm saying? He's a shit starter. He was Wendy Williams' intern. That's how he got into radio. Was getting coffee and being Wendy Williams' gopher. That's how he started. That's how he feels like radio should be. Gossip in that. But as you see, it can bite you in the ass, all that gossip, when you don't bring no receipts, when you're just lying on people. Baby was about to bring it to him that time. He said, put some respect on my name. I'm saying Charlemagne gets into it with every person that he brings up there because he feels like the controversy sells. Because he learned that from Wendy Williams. You're saying that's what he does. You're saying so y'all sometimes get distracted by what these radio people telling you. They telling you that they playing all this new music and that's the most requested shit. And it's really not. You know what I'm saying? We could see it's only 5% of the music that's even downloaded is this new whack ass music, right? But y'all listening to him tell y'all that, and Ebro and the rest of them tell you that no, this is what people requested. Come on, man. Seriously? When 70% of the music that's being streamed online is old music, you're gonna tell me that all they really want to hear is this new crap that y'all trying to make play 50 times a day so that somebody gonna like it? See, y'all gotta figure out who y'all trust. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta use better discernment and stop trusting some of these people that's telling you stuff because they got a big platform and they got a lot of followers, they got, you know, X amount of hits and they got certain amount of views, and they telling you stuff and y'all believe it. You know what I'm saying? But y'all shouldn't fall for the okie doke, man. So, and specifically, just to finish up with what Kenny was saying, let me show you something else. Let's give y'all some more receipts. All right, let's give y'all a couple of more receipts. And this was put together on Twitter. Once again, if y'all don't watch the news, I would suggest getting a Twitter account. All right, if y'all don't watch the news, get a Twitter account. And then y'all at least will be up on, like, if you don't just follow hip hop, like, you're not going to really know anything if you just follow the hip hop accounts. Go on there and follow some good accounts. Like, look, follow me on Twitter, right? Kurt Nice HHL on Twitter. Look at some of the people that I retweet and post. That's how you'll get the news. You'll know everything that's going on in your present day world. You'll see all the stuff that later gets onto the news, possibly. All right. That's what you'll see. But look, one last thing about politics before I go into my reaction videos. Right. The last thing I'm going to do about politics is just to show you this, just so that if people are saying to you, well, what did the Biden administration do? They didn't do nothing for me and they didn't do nothing for black people. That's whack. That's whack. Because first of all, it's not like the administration can say this is only for black people. You know what I'm saying? They can't do laws like that. That doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? You can't do laws like that. So I'm going to give y'all some information. I'm going to post this separately just in case you want to look at it, review it, just to give you confidence about who you're voting for in November. And there's only one party to vote for. You know, you don't want to vote for insurrectionists and traitors, okay? And that might sound salacious to somebody, but I don't know how. I just showed you the people that's following Trump had 216 criminal indictments in the last administration. Y'all say, well, Barack Obama wasn't that. He had 0 criminal indictments versus 216. All the most criminal indictments was from the Republican administrations. The GQP, as they're known nowadays, the GQP, right? And one day I'll explain that to you if I don't get it. But, you know, this is what we're looking at right here. So I'm gonna just give you a little bit more information just for you to work with, just in case somebody tries to feed you this stuff that the Democrats haven't done anything. Just like Charlemagne and these people are going to tell you, oh, the Democrats haven't done anything. This is what Joe Biden has done so far in 1 year. All right. All right. There you go. It's a whole long list of accomplishments. Okay. So come on. Don't be fooled by these people that's telling you to believe the hype, man. Like, they don't care if you vote, like, because they're going to be all right in some of their higher tax brackets. They're going to be fine. You're going to be out here struggling with your water cutting off. You know what I'm saying? And no accountability. You got bridges and stuff falling down in Pittsburgh, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody wanted to pay for no infrastructure for the last 40 years. Right? So don't be caught like a sucker out here. That's what I'm trying to prevent. I want y'all to be smarter. Don't be a sucker. You know what I'm saying? That used to be a thing back in the 80s. Don't be a sucker. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of suckers nowadays. Y'all just be believing anything. Whoever talks the loudest and whoever, talks the most, y'all just be believing these fools. You ever say that y'all be getting suckered? You know what I mean? But don't be no sucker, man. That's the whole thing. All that sucker shit is dead. You know what I'm saying? But look, you know what? One quick last thing. This is a funny little thing. It's politics, but it's not politics. It's a funny little thing that happened this past week. And this is when Biden called a reporter from Fox News a stupid son of a bitch.
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
He said, what a stupid son of a bitch. So that's Biden. That's your president right now. I don't care if you think the election was stolen or not. That's your motherfucking president. Okay? And he's doing his job, and Kamala Harris is your VP. All right? She's doing her job. She was just in Honduras visiting with the female president of Honduras this like 3 days ago. All right? You probably didn't hear nothing about that. She's been traveling all the world doing politics. You know what I mean? Making America's standing in the world a better thing than it used to be under the Trump administration. When that criminal was in the White House, accused, credibly accused rapist. All right? Credibly accused. I didn't see, did I? I wasn't there. But we know he's a serial groper. He admitted to that. He admitted to groping women, and just being a degenerate, all around type of degenerate. Not to mention stupid enough to stare into the sun during an eclipse. You know what I'm saying? Go look that up. Something else dumb he did amongst the hundreds of other things that he did that was that requires very low intelligence to pull that type of shit off. Okay. But look, like as I promised, I said I was gonna do some reaction videos to some people talking about the cipher. Do I have any cipher footage in here? Actually, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think I have any cipher footage. But before we get into the cipher, let's just do a quick little reset so y'all know where y'all at and y'all know what time it is, so that I can put some nice bookends to this particular segment right here. So I'll be right back after this quick little break. Yes. It's your man right here once again, Curtin ICE. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some quick reactions to some footage that's discussing the footage that I actually recorded back in the day that became known as the cipher. All right. Now, as you have seen, and as you can check on my channel, the footage from the Roundtable cipher, which you see part of it is in the background. You see Cannabis and DMX right there. That's from the cipher. those portraits on my wall there. That's the roundtable session with Cannabis, DMX, John Forte, Mike Geronimo, Big Pun, and Mos Def, right? That was carried out by the Village Voice. Interview was done by Torre, who you might know from MSNBC and all that. But I caught back up with him. I did that and I recorded that for Shades of Hip Hop back in 1997 on DMX's birthday, December 18th of 1997. It came out first on Hot to Death in 1998, which was one of our mixtapes before anybody that you know was doing a video mixtape. The first original video mixtape that ever existed in hip hop was Shades of Hip Hop, right? First widely broadcast in all the stores in New York, the first available one. People might have been in their hood passing it out to their friends like I was doing earlier than when I put it in stores. I was doing the same thing. Possibly some other people might have been doing it, you know, some of the other people that were doing cable shows like us. And I heard Ralph, you know, in the trailer for his the documentary that's on Showtime, I believe, that Nas produced, the documentary about Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box. I heard Ralph say that, oh, it was, you know, Video Music Box was sort of like a video mixtape. Sort of, but not really, Ralph, because all your stuff was censored because it was on cable, just like my cable show at the same time. Like back when Ralph was doing shows and I was doing shows, Ralph started earlier than me. He's a pioneer. I met up with him many times and have given him that love and that credit. But he did not start video mixtapes. I did. You know what I'm saying? I actually started video mixtapes with Shades of Hip Hop. That was the first official, and still to this day, the best video mixtape that ever existed in hip hop. The first and the best. Shades of Hip Hop video mixtapes. And that's what it used to say on the cover. It used to say Shades of Hip Hop video mixtape documentaries. Because there was no such thing. So the only thing, so to get it into the video store, I had to put on their documentary too, so that they would put it in the documentary section and not check the rating, like the R rating and stuff, because we always had X-rated material on our tapes. So, like, you know, I was like, put it in the documentary section next to Faces of Death and, you know, and Tommy. Tommy and stuff like that, like music documentaries and just documentaries and weird shit. That's what Shades of Hip Hop used to be when it first came out. Until it got real big, and then they started putting it up into the new release section, you know, with like multiple. And I wish I had pictures of this, man. That's one thing I wish I had pictures of, like going into a video store and seeing like a whole couple of shelves, maybe even a whole wall of Shades of Hip Hop catalog in the new release section. You know, that's why it's like, you know, y'all be like, oh, Kurt, you didn't aim high enough. Why aren't you a millionaire? So like, well, certain things that I wanted to do in life, I actually did. You know what I'm saying? That was one of them. You know, going in video stores and being a documentary person in that day, like going into a popular video store and seeing my material on the shelves in the new release section. That was one of the things I always, you know, as I grew older, that's one of the things I wanted to do. And I was able to actually accomplish that. But here we have on Talib Kweli's show, getting back to the cipher. All right, on Talib Kweli's show, The People's Party, he brought on John Forte. And as you guys know, if you follow me on this channel, you know that I told you the way that I actually ended up recording the cipher was because I was doing promotion for John Forte. All right. I was about to do some promotion for John Forte. His people got in contact with my man, Marcus Blasingame. Shout outs to Big Blast. You know what I'm saying? You can check him out on Instagram. Follow Marcus Blasingame. And he's a stylist. Shout outs to him. He does a lot of dope stuff. He got in contact with Blast, right? And then Blast called me on the three-way with John Forte on the phone. So John Forte called Blast. Blast called me. So now we're all on a three-way. And he's like, yo, I want to do some promotion. I want to be on Shades of Hip Hop. I'm about to come out with an album. This is the end of 1997 going into 1998. That's when he was about to drop his debut album, All right. He was working with the refugee camp and all of that. Right. The Fugees and all of that. Right. But he was about to drop his debut album. So he wanted to be on Shades of Hip Hop, which was the only video mixtape out at the time, you know, that was on and popping. You could do uncensored shit on there. He wanted to be on Shades of Hip Hop. So again, I'll tell the story again. He, you know, we discussed where he was going to be. He said he was going to be in the studio. He said he was going to be doing a show somewhere. He said he was going to be doing a couple other things, stuff that he had already recorded. You know what I mean? Type of stuff that, you know, we've been to mad shows already. We've been to mad studio sessions already. You understand? So I was like, no. I wanted to see the scope of what he was saying he was going to do. Then he brought up the Village Voice interview with Torre, right? He said, I'm going to be doing an interview with Torre, freshman class, people that's about to drop albums this year. We're going to be doing an interview section at this cafe in New York coming up like next Tuesday or some shit. So I was like, that sounds interesting. I was like, who's supposed to be there? He's like, oh, it should be a bunch of people there. You know, maybe Cannabis, Big Pun, DMX might be there, Because at that point, they only had singles and stuff out. Nobody had an album out yet. Cannabis hadn't dropped Second Round Knockout yet. DMX hadn't dropped 2 platinum albums yet. He just had a couple of singles like Get At Me Dog and something else was out. I think he had Stop Being Greedy. It just came out. Pun had just dropped a couple of singles. He didn't drop his album yet. I'm Not a Player. He had dropped that and a couple of stuff, some stuff with Joe. You know what I mean? He had dropped a couple of those joints, but no album yet. Mos Def had never dropped an album yet. All right. So you just heard of him messing with Daylight. You just knew who Mos Def was. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't really have no big songs yet. Of course, Mike Geronimo was actually the most known sort of at that time. He had just actually did a track with Bad Boy with Puffy. You know, he had did a remix for one of his songs with Puffy and shit. Irv Gotti was producing him at the time. And actually, if you watch that footage, like right towards the end of the Cannabis rhyme, you'll see I kind of pan over to Irv Gotti because I saw, like, I didn't actually know who Irv Gotti was. It's just that when I always used to go to all of these different hip hop spots, I would always see him. So I didn't even know who he was, but I just knew he was somebody because every time I would be like at some of these different parties and clubs and stuff, I would see him over, like somewhere. But later on, I came to realize that was Irv Gotti. But that's what I would do. Like when I would, like I was on the camera at this point. So like I would always get the flavor of the room. So you would feel like you was there. So you would get to see what was going on. Sometimes I don't shoot behind me, but all the stuff in front of me, I will let you see the different corners of the room, who's sitting at what table, what they doing, if somebody's eating the French fry while somebody else is talking, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of footage you're gonna see. It's just one camera shoot, you know, still to this day, the best one camera angle shot, you know what I'm saying? The best one shot in hip hop is the cypher. You know, there was no cuts. You know what I'm saying? It was just all one shot. And that's the type of footage I would get. All right. So here we have on Talib Kweli's show, we got John Forte discussing what he thought about that. So this is the first time I'm seeing this whole footage. So I recorded it with the sound off so I couldn't hear what they were saying. So let me see if we can react to it while it plays. Okay, let's check this out.
Of seeing that video of was it DMX birthday party or some event? It's on YouTube. It's John Forte, Cannabis, it's Cannabis, Mike Geronimo.
And hold up, see, and this is the other thing that's fucked up. when Talib Kweli pulls this fucking footage up, right? He don't even pull it up from my channel, the person that actually made the footage. He doesn't pull up from my channel, the person that has the whole cipher. He pulls it up from some random ass YouTube channel that bootlegged it from me, right? Some random ass YouTube channel, and whoever they are, whatever. Shout outs to them, whatever, for keeping the footage alive and all this shit when I wasn't really messing with it like that. And I didn't want people to see it, but he was just playing the rhyme portion. So yeah, they got, you know, this footage has millions of hits over different YouTube bootleggers. You understand? The cipher has probably more hits than most videos that, you know, a lot of these cats even gonna ever put out. You know what I'm saying? But meanwhile, on my little ghetto ass channel that y'all barely see, you know, it's not gonna look like that. But in all reality, y'all seen this footage. This is classic hip hop footage. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is what it is. But, I just wanted to make sure, and whenever I talk to Tyler Kweli again, I'm going to have to say, like, damn, bro, you just, you played some other niggas' footage. You know what I'm saying? You played the other niggas' channel and gave him the credit for my footage. You know what I'm saying? So when you see Video 94 come up, that ain't me. That's some other nigga that bootleg my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's Mike Geronimo.
No. Yeah, Cannabis. Big Pun. Yeah.
Yasin Bey.
Yeah.
This is the most diverse group of New York MCs that you could probably sit around the table. In that era, we were all preparing. I wasn't there, but I was there in spirit.
Yes.
But we were all as up and coming MCs preparing to be in the industry, to put out records. So y'all were comparing verses that y'all wrote, but that at that point, most of us didn't come from having studios. So you just had verses ready to go in case you got to a studio. So it's like, okay, check this one out.
Yeah. My alma mater is my rooftop. Back in 85 with summer cookouts, the crack lookouts, mega hookers with pocket books out. The corners where we hung out.
And again, if y'all want to see the original footage for this, just check my channel. Okay, because I actually have the original footage. I'm the one that actually recorded this. That's me on the camera right here. You know what I'm saying? Putting this footage out, So, tons of people have bootlegged it, obviously. That's why you've seen it, So that's why I don't fully hate, because, that's how, like, it got out to a wider audience than people would have ever seen it just from me. You know what I'm saying? Because people that really grind more and be on here for the views and stuff like that, you're going to see it more from their channels. So, shout outs to whatever bootleggers out there that bootleg my shit.
Uncle that was strung out, beef during the drought, and all the guns that we brung out. Niggas hustle for clouds, Brownsville Street, tight bouts, blackouts, ultra looting, door-to-door army recruiting, drug lords continue shooting in winters, and cold Novembers leaving red snow when niggas bled so for spot control, gold chains with diamond links, makes product in kitchen sinks, think tanks, mattress banks, stuck up bitches acting stink, unplayed without provisions, 1-on-20 type collisions, weak spots getting took, when pool 9 run the jokes, crooked beast crooks be lurking hurting, to catch your body working, to see they perks when it's a nigga head they bursting, first and last, I like your block and smack that ass, cum laude, streetwise, slide fast.
It's a very well-written, well-crafted verse that has no placement. And we all had these verses just in our head, ready to go at any given time. Tell me, what's the beat sound like? I got one for that. Right. But y'all was doing that with no beat. Describe that moment of that videotape.
I didn't realize how important that moment would be.
It was like, that moment is like listening to Stretch and Bob and hearing Big L and Jay-Z rhyme. It's one of those moments.
I think so.
Yeah. This is what Tyler Kweli is saying, about the cipher, right? This is what he's saying about Shades of Hip Hop, okay? This is what he's saying about yours truly, who recorded the cipher back in December of 1997. He was like, it was like listening to Stretch and Bob. Yes, it was. Because I was a big Stretch and Bob fan. We was a big mixtape fans back in the 90s. Okay. I'm probably just a little bit older than Talib Kweli and John Forte. Okay. So I was the one that actually had equipment, because you couldn't just record it on your phone, back then. Like, there wasn't no camera phones back then. You had to have actual and make an investment for real equipment. Right. So I was the one that actually did that. And then made it into a video mixtape, because all that footage you never would have seen on cable, you never would have seen on Ralph McDaniel's show, because it was too much cursing. They was smoking, they was drinking. We couldn't play that kind of stuff on cable back then. So that's why I started doing video mixtapes, right? So that people could hear that rawness that they heard on Stretch and Bob, so that people could hear that rawness that they heard on mixtapes, so that they could see it. So they could see the atmosphere of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So that they could feel the vibe and the culture of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? They could see what people was doing out in the street that was listening to hip hop. They could see the artists on the all down situations when they wasn't like even in the studio, or they wasn't on stage somewhere, or doing a real professional, like, well, they wasn't doing an interview, but that, as you see, that wasn't like, that was a newspaper interview. That was an interview for a newspaper. So that was a whole bunch of random talking for like an hour. But I was recording the whole thing. That's why you ended up seeing it. Okay. So this is what Talib Kweli and John Forte think about that
Bob
situation.
and hearing Big L and Jay-Z rhyme. It's one of those movies.
I think so. I think so. And the only reason why I say that is because, you know, when I was gone for 7+ years, the world changed, right? There was no iPhone when I was home. So I came home and was introduced to the iPhone, BlackBerry, or really these smart devices. And then the notion of giving away your music. That was like what?
Yeah.
I came home in 2008 and they were like, yeah, so we just give away the project. What? Who pays you? Right. Well, no, it doesn't really work like that. How does it work and who's working? It was a big shock, right? So the monetization aspect of what we did and how we did that changed.
That's right. That's right.
The fact that we're here now with the opportunity to break bread, to influence, to create art, fortunately, like I can look at you as a 40-something-year-old artist and like this isn't our first rodeo. Like we paid our due. We know how to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna make a little slight observation right here and say that John Forte was smoking before he started talking. I mean, before this interview. Because he's kind of zoning around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not sticking to the full subject, but that's what happens when you smoke weed and you start, you know, zoning out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my conjecture.
But if nothing else, I think that to rest our hats on the fact that our efforts were not in vain. Yeah, we were hanging out, but we were learning. You know, we were getting lifted, but we were getting inspired
and teaching.
See, he just said it right there. He said we were getting lifted. That means getting high. That smoking. You say that was a slang back in the day. Get lifted. You said, there might have been some songs about that. Check that out.
Learning about our own strengths and our own capabilities to contribute. So that moment of sitting around with Torre interviewing us didn't really strike me as profound as maybe it is until I saw people hitting. It was like, oh, people are, you know, they're tagging me in the video and they're tagging the moment, right. and
this is and all new with the social media. Like, you're being tagged in this tagged in this new thing that's bringing you back.
And I'm like, oh, I remember that moment, kind of. Yeah, we were smoking cigarettes inside a restaurant, like it was a different time.
Old New York.
Old New York. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe even 11.
See, I told you about this. And see, look, when I talk to John Forte again, man, I'm going to have to make sure that from now on, bro, when you talk about this footage, take credit for being the reason why I fucking recorded this shit. You saying the reason why I recorded this shit. John Forte, remember, this nigga was high so many times and then he got locked up after that. This shit didn't mean nothing to them. When they recorded it, when it was doing a normal Village Voice interview, it would have just been that and it would have never gone nowhere. You never would have saw that shit ever again. You know what I'm saying? There was plenty of times, right, where you do, where artists like that was doing interviews with the Village Voice and these different local newspapers. Like Village Voice was a local newspaper in New York. I don't even know if they're out anymore because newspapers are pretty much dead. But like back then, you know what? Let me just not trip out too hard without giving y'all some background music. Listen, back then you would do an interview like that and it would come out and you would never even think about that shit ever again. But the difference is because Shades of Hip Hop recorded it and put it on the best first original video mixtape in hip hop. And that footage has survived until this day, and it's still one of the best ciphers, especially acapella. See, that was an acapella cipher. None of these other ciphers are acapella because a lot of their lyrics can't stand up to being an acapella. It don't sound as dope with no beat. That's how you know who's the rhymers and who's not, because a lot of y'all get mesmerized by the beat, and then y'all say something is dope. But meanwhile, what these niggas was actually saying, You know what I'm saying? Is what rap was supposed to be about. It's about the lyrics. You know, we just saw that tweet a little while ago. If y'all look back at that, you know, we saw a tweet. This guy said, you know, people that listen to the lyrics in hip hop, it hits different. You say, but again, that moment became something else because it was recorded on Shades of Hip Hop video mixtapes, and people bootlegged it. That's the other reason, because people bootlegged the hell out of it, and they was playing it because it wouldn't technically have been as big if they didn't bootleg it. And then everybody just put that shit on social media and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, John Forte, when you fucking talk about this shit in the future, you're gonna have to take credit for the reason why we recorded the whole shit. The reason why that footage exists is because John Forte called my man that was working with Shades of Hip Hop, Marcus Blassigame at the time, and he called for us to do publicity for him. And that's why I went there, was because of John Forte. You say now, you know, maybe 6 months later to a year later, he got locked up and went to jail for like 7.5 years. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all that shit became a fond memory. That shit was pushed out of his mind. You know what I'm saying?
And we were smoking cigarettes inside a restaurant. Like it was a different time.
Old New York.
Old New York. Old New York. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe even 11 a.m. I don't know, but
yes, it was an afternoon.
We were
on a
drinking and
Tuesday.
smoking, and we were.
It was the afternoon on a Tuesday. It was like an off-ass day. It was a regular, just like little restaurant, Match Cafe restaurant. I don't think they exist no more. They don't. I looked them up, but they don't exist no more. There's a little side cafe. We went to like 4 or 5 other different spots before we even got there, because the other spots was like, hell no, y'all ain't bringing all them Negroes up in here. You know what I'm saying? And then so we got kicked out like of 2 places. And then the third spot I think was like that was the Match Cafe, and then people was in there, and then it was still like the maitre d' and them didn't want us in there, so I slipped the maitre d' like $30-40. You know what I'm saying? I gave him like $30-40, like, yo, here, let me turn the light on and just record these cats for about 15 minutes. Now that 15 minutes turned into an hour, but I had already paid the dude. And then if he had started to stop the shit, there was a whole bunch of people up in there already. It would have been kind of ugly. So I slipped him, like, because it was a dark ass cafe until I turned my fucking camera light on. That shit was like, I think I had a sun gun at that time. That shit was bright as hell, just so it could light up the whole area. So it was like a nice little cafe, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and shit, like a lunchtime crowd, business people from New York. It was like Lower Manhattan, you know what I mean? Just all these like a little business crowd in that. And here we come with all these hip hop dudes smoking cigarettes, talking loud, and then rapping and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is back in the 90s, you dig? So it was a different time back there, just like they said.
All feeling.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
Like we were capable of greatness.
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
And that's brought to you by the Up Rocks video that hosts the People's Party Jaunt with Talib Kweli. But I'm also going to one more piece. All right, let's see if we can finish this up before 4 o'clock. We're going to go to Cannabis talking about the cipher. All right, on the bootleg, what? I'm sorry.
Take me back to that night from that cipher.
Right.
Big Pun is one of my favorite ever. I mean, this is a crazy night in hip hop. Yeah. DMX is there. I mean, you're there. Like, what do you remember about that night and those circumstances from that night?
I remember that in that room, as tense as it was, because of what we all were trying to do in our own lives. We all wanted to come out, make our impacts, plant our flags in the ground, right? And firmly make an impact in hip hop across the world. That's what we wanted to do. We were all American artists, right. Of course, coming from different lineages, right? And then
everyone on the cusp of being the next big thing in rap.
Right. And then ethnically, it was really spread out all throughout. It was spread out. It was a spread out round table, right? But in spite of how intense it was, what I distinctly remember was, as much as each one of us was willing to go hard with them rhymes and other things to make that statement, there was still complete love in that room. And you can look at it and tell like there was love for each other and respect for each, you know. That's what you didn't see anything jump off in there that was like unbecoming of, you know, artists that are kind of like in their freshman role trying to get it popping. Like we show love to each other in that, and there was no security there. We didn't need any extra. There was no hype man there. There was no squads. Nobody had a whole squad standing outside the door. Like, so that much I remember. I remember that there was love in that room, and the love, I think, was probably resonant because of the lyrical miracle ability, right? We all had that ability in there, so everybody respected one another's pen game, and we all knew consciously and subconsciously that we were kind of like all up against the same machine. We weren't up against each other. We were up against the same machine because we were trying to get something from the machine in order to go feed our little huskies and our munchkins, and, you know, and branch out.
Okay. Thank you, Cannabis. Thank you for that little drop there. And once I show y'all the full cipher, I'm going to go into the details of what was going on at the time. And although Cannabis says that it was all love, I can point to a few little instances in particular that was a little tense. Like he said, it was a tense situation in there. And when we talk about the cipher in full, I'm going to go into that more in depth. All right, I'm going to tell y'all what was really going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pause the tape and I'm going to tell y'all what was really going on. But look, man. Oh, wait a second. Who this? Nobody. I have no idea what the fuck that is. That's some bot or some shit. Check it out. All right. But again, once again, shout outs to Mike P, the Scientific Mystic. And before, no, I'm not going to do that. I was about to do something else, but I'm not going to do that. As you know, subscribe to the channel, man. I be on here every once in a while, and if y'all want to catch me on the live joint, I'm going to be breaking this thing up into sections and pieces so that you can get it into some nice little digestible chunks that's suited to your particular needs and what you want, because I've been all over the place right here, from talking about from politics to music news to, you know, to reaction videos. So, and I'm gonna probably do some more reactions, because now I've started to notice that people are doing reaction videos to the cipher rhyme section. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm sure once I put up and I make sure I got rid of, so far I think I've gotten rid of all the cats that have put up the talking part. I didn't make people take down the rhyme part. You know what I'm saying? But I made everybody take down the talking part. So now the only person that really should have the talking part on here is me. All right, because I'm the one that originally recorded it. Okay, and if you see it, it's usually going to be in black and white, unless you see it on my channel, because the only long form version I put out of the talking part, I made sure I put it in black and white. You know, so I would know the difference if somebody was, you know, bootlegging it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because the only color version of the cipher, I have it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put that up for y'all one time, and we're gonna do a little watch party with that joint, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna discuss it, and hey, we might have John Forte, Cannabis, and some other people on here. You know, I'm friends with Chris Rivers, Big Pun's son, on Twitter, so I DM'd him a couple of times, and he, you know, he's always told me to hit him up, but I just haven't had the right particular time to hit him up. But I'm definitely gonna hit him up for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And we might do a whole full joint. I actually really want to do another documentary, like a where are they now type of thing, and talk about people's careers and stuff that has transpired since we actually recorded that back in 1997. So I would love to do that. I'd love to do a new documentary on that. So that's also going to be in the plans and in the works. But before we get up out of here, let's pull this down. Like I'm getting hit with bots. Like bots are actually hitting my shit right now in the comment section. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? Y'all probably see those little bot comments on there. I don't know why these niggas is hitting me right now. But until the next time we check each other out, I think one of the next watch parties I'm going to do is going to be for Time to Shine, which was our third video mixtape, which came out in 1997. We had two tapes come out in 1997. We did the RIP Tupac and B.I.G. tape, which was mostly just videos. And although it was exclusive videos at the time, stuff that you can see on the internet now, but there's actually still versions of those videos that I have that was sent to us from the record company that I still never seen them on like YouTube and that, because people don't have those videos. You know what I'm saying? The record company didn't. They put out like censored versions of the videos as well as a regular version, and then they sent it to the cable station. Now I had both of those versions, so those versions I put onto that RIP Tupac and B.I.G. tape. Now that I know specifically, that was the Hit 'Em Up video, which has like R-rated material in it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some naked breasts and stuff in there. Shout out to Heather Hunter. She's in that video with Tupac. Still a very beautiful woman. Shout outs to Heather Hunter. You know, but she was in that video. And then on a regular version of the Hit 'Em Up video, yeah, I think it was a Hit 'Em Up video. I'm pretty sure it was hip hop. Yeah, I think it was pretty much. I'm pretty sure it was a hip hop video. There was like some R-rated material in there, so you actually only ever see the the censored version of that video when you see it online. You say, but I actually had the uncensored version, which I still have on a tape somewhere around here, and that's the version I put on RIP Tupac and B.I.G. And then also Hypnotize had a couple of scenes that were weirdly deleted out of it. You know what I'm saying? It was weirdly deleted out of it in the regular video that you never see. Like there was a different version of Hypnotize by B.I.G. when he was on Bad Boy, and him and Puffy was in the video. There's a part with him and Puffy turn to the camera and say, "Oh shit." You know what I'm saying? And I used that in one of my clips somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's on there. And there's actually like a little dancing part where these girls are like dancing on top of each other. They're not even facing each other. The one girl, like you would have to see it. It's not even nothing that crazy, but that's not in the censored version for some reason. You know what I'm saying? But that was a version that I played on the RIP Tupac and B.I.G. mixtape that came out in the early part of 1997. And then Time to Shine came out, which was the first tape that showed street footage. The first tape that was showing you raw in the street, regular MCs in the street rhyming. You know what I'm saying? Cats that was like selling drugs on the corner, like we was on their corner with them. This was before anybody ever decided to try to do that. Okay, before the Come Up tapes and Cocaine City, all them other mixed, all them DVDs that came out later after 2000. All right, because this was actually on VHS tape, so this was before that era. So the first time that you ever saw niggas in the street rhyming live like that was on Shades of Hip Hop. All right, I never showed niggas with guns and bullshit like that though, because after the Time to Shine video, and I'll talk about all of this stuff when we do the watch party, but shit happened. There was repercussions from that. There was a lot of fallout from me releasing Time to Shine in the hood. Like there was fallout in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Even a little bit of fallout from me too. Like not from me, but towards me. You know what I'm saying? You know, niggas was after my ass too. I'll explain that situation to y'all too. You know what I'm saying? When we go over the footage. But lastly about that footage, before I'm gonna show you a little montage from Time to Shine just to show y'all what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show y'all a little footage from that. But that footage is where Alchemist got the idea for the beat that he used on The Realest by Mobb Deep featuring Kool G Rap. That beat that's on The Realest, all right, that's on that Mobb Deep album that came out in like 1998 or 1990. Yeah, 1998 or 1999. I believe it might have been 1999, but I'm not. I got to go back. That beat for The Realest that Cool G Rap is on, that beat he heard on Time to Shine video. And the theme of that song comes from them watching that tape. Now, I haven't been confirmed, like I haven't been told of the confirmation, but there's too much coincidence involved. And so we're gonna have to talk about that as well when we go over to the Time to Shine watch the party. Okay, so that'll be some time coming up soon, hopefully, because I got the whole thing uploaded, so I just haven't done it yet. So maybe that'll be the next thing I do. All right, so until the next time, man, y'all be safe, stay out of trouble. All right, get your vaccination, make sure you register to vote, and vote when it's time for your turn. All right, don't be a sucker. All right, so hey, man, y'all be safe. All right, we out of here until the next time. Peace.
You could be behind the scenes of a video show, you know what I'm saying? You could be doing a video mixtape like what we're doing. And basically that's where it came from. We were doing video shows for like 7 years. We were DT undercover. Shout out to DJ Cheese.
Motherfucking ass, really, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, shades of hip hop.
What the hell? Let's get up out of here.